Hello, this is Dr. Yinbin Yu from Austin Peay State University. Today I will present the paper Exploration of Virtualization Technology for Hands-on Learning in Computer Networking Education. So this is the agenda for the presentation. We have 4 sections: Introduction, Physical Computer Level Remote Access, Virtualization Technology for Hands-on Learning, and conclusion. Introduction. Computer networking is a major concentration in our computer information technology degree, and we have a physical lab. It has many computer, router, switch, wireless router, firewall, and other networking devices. Several years ago, the department began to offer the degree online, and that presented a number of challenges for us how to run the lab project for the remote students. So in this paper, we will present a hybrid approach using virtualization technology and remote access to provide hands-on skills for our students. And the institution can use this model to reduce the financial investment and at the same time overcoming the traditional time and space constraints for on-ground class. First, we will discuss how we make the lab computer remote accessible for online students, because some students they need a more powerful computer from the lab to run the project, especially to run multiple virtual machines. And some students may not have a Windows computer. So here we're using Cisco router to do the configuration, and we will map the internal IP to the external public port number, and students can use Windows Remote Access Protocol to log into the computer remotely from anywhere. So here we just give one example. We assume all the PC will run Windows operating system, and the RDP port, Remote Desktop Protocol port, is 3389, and we have 3 internal computers. The IP will be 172.16.100.2, 100.3, 100.4. So in the router, we choose 3 port numbers: 6002, 6003, 6004 to map each individual computer inside. So after the configuration, for the students, they just need to run Windows Remote Connection app, and the IP will be the router public IP 199.something plus the port number. So all these computers we make available remotely for online students. And next, we will discuss several individual course design for hands-on learning development. The first class will be wireless communication and networking. So for traditional wireless networking project, you have to run like many wireless LAN controller, router, and laptop to set up a complex networking topology. But if we're using Cisco Packet Tracer, which is free available after students register account at Cisco and register one free class, so the software is free for students. And here we can simulate multiple wireless LAN controller, and it will provide the central management for the wireless networking. There we have lightweight access point to provide the wireless access for laptop or smartphone, And the switch we connect to a home gateway. Home gateway we connect to the cable modem for the internet connection, and then we connect to the internet server. So here, using the software, we can pretty much simulate very complicated wireless networking scenarios. And then in the class, we have another project, wireless captive portal. So that one, it will provide a web page login interface for new user if they want to access the networking resources. Either they will provide ID and a password, or you can set up, to provide a free Wi-Fi. It's very commonly used in the like a hotel, airport, and maybe campus networking. But because if you want to set up a real captive portal computer, you need a database, web server, and web development. So all these topics are beyond the class coverage for this particular class. So that's the reason we try to use Utango, and that will provide a complete solution which include an internal database, web server, and the web application is already developed, and you can do the management through a web browser. The Utango will be set up as a virtual machine, and for the remote access, remote authentication, we're using the Radius server. Usually, you can configure a Windows server as a Radius server for the backup database and remote authentication. So another class will be enterprise virtualization. Because in this class we're using VMware vSphere. This is a suite of software that combines ESXi hypervisor and vCenter server for centralized management of virtual machines. So usually this kind of project will require to run multiple ESXi server, because in the lab we really don't have enough computer resources to grant every student like several physical computers to run the lab. So instead we try to run everything as a virtual machine. For example, the multiple ESXi server will be set up as a virtual machine using VMware Workstation Pro. The vCenter server will be another virtual machine to provide the external storage for virtual machine. We will set up the TrueNAS as a virtual machine. It will provide networking attached storage across the networking, and also it will provide other external storage service like iSCSI. For the user authentication, we can use the Windows Server as a virtual machine to provide a single sign-on user authentication using Active Directory account to create the multiple virtual networking. So that one we can use VMware Workstation Pro Virtual Networking Editor. So that one you can create the multiple virtual switch to simulate multiple subnets. So after we're using all these tools, anyway, we do not need to run the vSphere on a physical computer. Everything can be done using VMware Workstation Pro. So another important class will be networking security in our curriculum. For this class, we run Kali Linux virtual machine, which include a comprehensive suite of pre-installed networking and security tools. To simulate a target for penetration test, we run Metasploit 2. That's another Linux virtual machine, and it will be configured many vulnerable services such as web server, FTP server, and many other service. Another topic in networking security will be public key encryption. For this topic, we're using a specialized spreadsheet tool to simulate the mathematical process, how to run encryption and decryption. For the students, they do not need to do any programming. They just open the Excel file and choose the public key, private key, and then it will calculate like a modulus tokens in RSA encryption. So after that, we will get a public key, private key. We're using another Excel file to encrypt the message. To verify, we're using the private key to decrypt the message to check if the original message called the plain text can be recovered. So that one will help students understand the process for RSA encryption. Another topic will be email security. We're using open source software, GPG4Win and Mozilla Thunderbird email client. GPG4Win will be used to generate the public key, private key, and all these keys will be imported into Mozilla Thunderbird, and then we configure the Thunderbird to provide end-to-end encryption for 2 email accounts. Another topic will be IP security. That one will provide the lower level encryption for IP packets. Because IP security usually is a very complicated topic, and the students will have difficult to understand the concept, and also it will be very difficult to set up IP security policy or maybe run IP security on a router or switch. So that's the reason we try to choose a very simple approach. We're using the Windows Defender Firewall, and we set up 2 computers. One computer we run the regular web server, and then we will configure Windows Firewall on both computers to set up a secret channel, and it will provide end-to-end encryption between these 2 computers from anywhere. So using this approach, students can really feel how the IP security can be set up quickly. And we have several other courses in the computer networking curriculum. So one course will be routing and switch. For this one, we just run Cisco packet tracer. Cisco packet tracer that provide every simulation to us to simulate router, Cisco router and switch. For another 2 classes, Windows Server and Linux Administration class. We run Windows Server and Linux machine as the virtual machine using VMware Workstation Pro or maybe in any hypervisor platform. We also integrated Amazon AWS Academy and Microsoft Azure for students to set up like a Linux virtual machine or Windows Server virtual machine on the cloud. So that one will give students the experience how to handle the cloud environment. Conclusion. So this paper we present and evaluate the various strategy how to implement a virtual lab to support computer networking education, and we present the different software technique for several advanced computer networking class. So in the future, we expect we try to move some contents to the cloud, like Microsoft or Amazon AWS. We hope to integrate the more contents with cloud computing. So this will be the reference for the software we used in this paper. So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.